Here is Donald Trump pleading the fifth at the deposition that happened today.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Well, this just into CNN. Donald Trump says he pleaded the fifth in a deposition today with the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. That happened this morning. She and her team are investigating the finances of the Trump Organization.
And he is facing many legal woes this week. There's also the appeals court that ruled that House lawmakers can get their hands on his tax returns. A judge ordered his former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to testify for a Georgia grand jury about the scheme to overturn the last presidential election in 2020. And of course, we've also been learning new details about that FBI search at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida.
So let's pick up where we left off. But Abby Phillip, I had to interrupt you to get to that important signing at the White House. And there was news in the midst of that, and that is this long statement on Truth Social from the former president explaining why he pleaded the fifth. And I just think it's important context because we'll all remember in 2016, as it pertained to the investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails, he said, if you're innocent, why are you taking the fifth? Now he says in this statement, Abby, I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the fifth? Now I know the answer to that question, the former president writes. When your family, company, and all the people in your orbit have become targets of an unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt supported by lawyers, prosecutors, et cetera, you have no choice. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think this is very much related to our earlier conversation because the argument that Trump is making in this statement is that he is being targeted politically from all sides. And that's the case he's making to his base in order to engender even more support. So this just plays into that. But just, a quick note, because as you were, reading that part of Trump's statement, it did remind me of the fact that Hillary Clinton, in all the investigations that she was involved in, that Trump himself said she should have been locked up for, did testify publicly and privately on these matters. Trump, on the other hand, has tried really aggressively to avoid being under oath in these circumstances, and this is just the latest case of that.
David, let's pick up on that. It's not just President Trump and his family calling this a witch hunt. You have top Republicans, lawmakers, who are saying that this series of events, from the FBI search to his deposition today, which he answered no questions, now possibly Congress getting his tax records. What can be done, do you think, to convince so many millions of Americans that all of this is lawful, that it's not a witch hunt?
He's going to have this is so entangling, it's really hard to sort of sort it all out. But earlier this week, when the FBI agents swept into Mar-a-Lago and got all this information out and everything like that, one had the feeling that the government was doing something that was impossible for anybody else to do, and that was creating Donald Trump as a sympathetic figure. Suddenly he looked like he was being done in by all these forces. But now when he goes and takes the fifth, he's back to who he was, very unsympathetic, very much, show me, tell me the truth about what you're doing. And I think he's misplayed his hand here by taking the fifth. Maybe it'll provide temporary protection for some of his people. But in the end, he's going to have to come clean in one environment or another. And it would be so much stronger if he could tell us what's really going on, not only at Mar-a-Lago, but what's going on here in these other fronts, so that the country could make a judgment, a balanced judgment. It's very hard to make balanced judgments about Donald Trump because he always surprises you frequently, I'm afraid, on the downside.
Joining me now for more on all of this is Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist David K. Johnston, who's covered Donald Trump for more than 30 years. CNN counterterrorism analyst Phil Mudd, he's a former FBI senior intelligence officer, and CNN legal analyst Jennifer Rogers. She's a former federal prosecutor. So Jennifer, let's start with the deposition today. What do you think of this statement put out by the president saying, under the advice of my counsel and for all of the above reasons?
Do you guys remember if there was... Remember when I think, who was it that said, shit, what was that? Who was it that famously fucking said that if you plead the fifth, you're automatically guilty? I can't recall. Who was that? There was a guy who said that. He said like, Only mobsters plead the fifth. They talked about it in the beginning of the video. Oh, yeah. Well, I missed it. Oh, here it is.
You have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the fifth, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the fifth, I think it's disgraceful. Fifth Amendment. The mob takes the fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible. He pleaded the fifth, and that was the end. We never heard about him again. This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy that, oh, yeah. Horrible, horrible, only horrible people plead the fifth. Of course, the hogs don't give a shit because they'll say that it's, they'll say that this is different because it's a fucking witch hunt. You know what I mean? The only time you plead the fifth is at the top of the hour where there's a 60-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. It's kind of like pleading the fifth to the top of the hour ad break. What you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Believe me. I mean, he's not wrong. Horrible people do plead the fifth. I think they just proved it. I mean, you should plead the fifth, by the way. Don't incriminate yourself, obviously. But if you're Trump, then you shouldn't, because I want him to suffer. But if you want to no longer suffer, then, you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. And that way you can, Wait, what? Common Hassan L? Wait, why did I catch a stray here? Anyway, you can get gifted a sub as well. Plead the $5. I don't fucking know. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. I'm so I was a little tense because I don't really know Chris that well. But he was great. He was a great he was great on camera. I think he was a little tense as well because he'd never been on. A TikTok hater came over trying to throw L's. Because he's black, you racist? Yeah. Good one. But I also wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that it was concise because I knew that I didn't have him for a super long time. It was great seeing someone who takes action and is so far removed from social media brain rot. Yeah. It just, He didn't like the Steven Crowder video at all, but other than that, it was a great interview. Yeah, well, he didn't see, he doesn't know the background on Steven Crowder. That's why. I want to buy tickets for the event you guys are doing, but it's sold out the day after and never bought tickets. Yep, well, that's how it works. I hope that was a good interview overall, though, because I think that a lot of people are super black-pilled. I think a lot of people are super black-pilled, and someone like Chris, obviously, who has, done the work, who is far removed from the social media brain rot, and isn't, fucking stupid. You know what I mean? He works fast. We could unionize with his other editors. Chris, we can't do this here. He can read our Discord messages. Okay, dude, come on. Don't do that. We're a family. But yeah, seeing normal people, you know what I mean? Normal individuals who aren't almost shackled by what their understanding of the best practices for your ideological underpinnings are is great. And that's in some way that's like freeing, and I think it allows you to do the right thing without being constantly inundated with a sea of like idiotic shit. Here we took a photo, by the way, as well, real quick. Had to post that up on Twitter. I was trying to look tough. I forgot leftists could not know the names of right-wing chuds, but then you fucking ruined them. Can't look tough in those slippers? Shut up. He is tall, yeah. Photo edited already. Thanks, Kings. Good one. I'm not doom-pilled about the union movement and the activist left doing their thing. I'm doom-pilled about politicians and the Dems. They suck and you should not support them except the few that are good. Yeah, I mean, I talk about the necessity for unions in getting the Democrats to do the right thing because they're never going to do it on their own. That fit is nuts, Hassan. I'm a fan. Hasanabi, please top me. Are you worried about Bezos clapping your cheeks? No, I'm his most loyal soldier, baby. Why the fuck? Why the fuck would he ever, why the fuck would he ever destroy me? I'm making money, baby. They will sell us the rope, okay? Jeff doesn't know I exist, and that's a good thing. In all seriousness, I have concerns with the union as someone who's been in one for years and dealt with them. I hope this union has real teeth because as labor contracts get negotiated, they seem to get worse. Never forget that. Never forget that ultimately, if labor contracts seemingly get worse, that means that the bosses are aggressively bargaining. You understand that, right? It's not the union's fucking fault. And I do understand. I mean, IATSE has issues with its own leadership. And it's an ongoing struggle. It's just the unions are. When will the VOD be up? The VOD is up. Shut the fuck up. The VOD is up already. Don't do this. Don't fucking do this. Don't trigger the fuck out of me with this, like, when will the VOD be up? The VOD is up. The VOD is not down. Okay? You make Chris take off his shoes? Of course, I make everybody take off their shoes. What do you mean? Not totally true. There are business unions that are allowed for concessionary bargaining, but the whole point of labor notice is to counter that from a rank and file movement. Anyway. I get they get that they're at the table, but when I was at the UFCW specifically, it just seemed like when I talked to my reps, they say things like, this is what we get and there isn't much we can do. Yeah, then you got to work to change your union, okay? And you have an easier shot at changing the internal processes of your fucking union than you do of trying to bargain for better wages and better benefits by begging your fucking boss without having any sort of collective action. Okay? I'm not saying it's easy. Post that photo on IG, coward. I will post it on IG as well. I never said it was easy. It's not. Those aren't shoes. I got slippers on. I got slippies on. What's Elwig saying? Ludwig is waiting? Oh, fuck.